Athens sleeps, but the gods never close their eyes. In the heart of the city, she watches, eternal and silent. Even the bravest men feel small beneath her gaze. And sometimes, she seems almost alive. Beyond the sacred hill, the city breathes in darkness. In hidden rooms, stories are rehearsed in secret. Words that could challenge power or mock it. Even slaves find freedom in performance.
Hear my call and dance with me. The night is ours. Let joy be free.
The theater begins long before the stage. But outside, something is changing. In the dead of night, bad news travels fastest. Fear grips even the most honored families. A child chosen by the gods now lies broken. Life and death hang on unseen forces. Is it illness or divine punishment?
Hold on.
In Athens,
Breathe with me. Stay with me.
medicine battles the gods.
Stabilizing.
Outside, hope fades with every heartbeat. Far from the city, war never sleeps. 170 men, one heartbeat. In the darkness, every decision shapes history. Tension holds the empire together like rope under strain. Precision is survival on these waters. Every stroke carries the weight of Athens. Music keeps chaos in order. A fleet moves like a single mind. One mistake, and wood becomes splinters. Leadership is often silent. Even the wind must be negotiated. Voices bind effort into unity. Dawn approaches, and with it, truth. The gods greet the rising sun. War glows beautifully from afar. While warriors sail, the city still sleeps. But some rise before the sun. Bread feeds empires as surely as swords. Daily rituals begin again. Invisible hands keep the city alive. Athens awakens, slowly. Trade begins before the crowd arrives. The sea feeds the city. Life rushes forward without hesitation. Knowledge shapes the future of Athens. Every letter builds a civilization. The body is trained as fiercely as the mind. Strength decides survival. Preparation is ritual. The heart of Athens begins to beat.
Fresh on, best in the seas, come by and fresh inches.
Voices compete louder than swords. Silver moves faster than truth.
Friends, in this light of dawn, let us seek the wisdom that
Ideas are Athens' greatest weapon. And every mind is a battlefield.
This cannot stand! You would tear us apart with your
Debate
madness.
fuels
He speaks truth,
democracy
cannot delay.
and
Then fight
division.
for it.
Decisions that shape empires begin here. Power lies in the hands of citizens.
Citoyen Vaz!
Words can send thousands to war. But not all voices are heard. Some lives carry the weight of others, while others live in comfort. Survival is not equal.
we have enough.
This is Athens, brilliant, divided, unstoppable. Beyond the walls, power is measured in speed. Every detail prepares for war. Discipline turns men into force. In Athens, every exchange is a battle. Value is always contested. And survival bends the rules. The gods must be honored constantly. Prayers rise, whether heard or not. Some offerings come at a cost. Blood seals devotion.
The eastern legions cannot ignore the coastal threat.
Power is argued, not given.
This is folly. Damn, we can fight for bad race.
Conviction can sway a city,
We fain retreated down.
but whispers shape outcomes.
For victory.
Under the sun, truth becomes harder to see. Empires are built on effort. And shaped into beauty. Perfection emerges from fragments. Luxury thrives behind closed doors. Even in chains, dignity remains. The city burns under its own weight. News travels faster than thought and carries consequences. A single message can change everything. Preparation begins instantly. War is always near. And someone is always left behind. Innocence ignores the storm. But signs appear for those who watch. Fate is read in uncertain patterns. And rarely brings comfort. Trade never stops, even in tension. Goods flow like lifeblood. Athens speaks to the world. And the world pays in silver. Even in danger, life finds joy.
The wine is strong tonight.
As the day fades, stories begin.
Good company.
A steady pour, my friend. May it warm us well.
Wine loosens truth, and sharpens lies.
Indeed, I haven't laughed like this in ages. More wine then, to many more.
Day begins to surrender. But the city's story is far from over. Stone remembers what men forget. Even in chaos, beauty demands attention. The gods fade, but never disappear. As darkness rises, fire answers. Athens does not sleep, it transforms.
Watch them fly.
Entertainment becomes ritual. Music carries the soul of the city. Movement becomes language. And the crowd becomes one voice. While some seek meaning beneath the noise, night invites indulgence. Pleasure is carefully measured. Even luxury depends on service.
The ideal is the true reality.
Ideas clash more fiercely than armies.
Without the ideal, we are lost.
Truth bends under conviction.
My dawn!
And certainty is always contested. Debate gives way to pleasure. Excess leaves its trace. Not all of Athens is illuminated. Power moves quietly at night. And night returns, watching all. Protection never rests. But fear hides in the unseen. Opportunity thrives in darkness. While others sleep, minds remain awake. Ideas take form in silence and are sealed for the future. For many, the day simply ends. But something is coming. Athens endures for now. Even stone trembles under the sky. The heavens speak in storms. Light resists, but falters.
To the Parthenon! The gods demand our presence!
Nature humbles all.
Forward! Do not from them! A light there now!
The city bends, but does not break. Ritual answers chaos. The goddess watches, unchanged. Far away, men fight a different storm. Nature shows no mercy. and survival becomes instinct. Storms pass, but leave their mark. The city breathes again. Not all find shelter. And not all feel the storm. Fatigue weakens even the vigilant. And danger waits patiently.
Men are wavering. They need your strength. My strength.
Opportunity returns with silence.
Without it, we fall. Loyalty is earned, not given. The enemy is near. We must take the gold and leave.
Wealth changes hands, unseen. And leaves no trace. Night regains its calm. Even restless minds surrender. Light fades again. The city rests in silence. Above, nothing has changed. Life continues quietly. The city whispers in its sleep. And the cycle begins again. Morning prepares its return. Athens awakens once more. A new day forms in silence. Light returns gently. The city begins again with fire. Yesterday is washed away. The gods greet another day. Life returns through its gates. Duty passes from one to another. Innocence rises with the sun. Commerce prepares its stage. The sea delivers once more. Thought begins before the noise. Questions shape the day ahead. And preparation never ends. Faith anchors the uncertain. Labor carries the city forward. Privilege walks openly, while others remain unseen. The cycle of power resumes. Choices will shape destiny.
Citizens of Athens, hear me now.
And the
fate of our
voices
city is at
rise
stake.
once more.
We must act with courage and resolve.
War remains ever present. Effort without end. The next generation watches. And remembers what has been. Time leaves its mark. Yet beauty endures. Above, freedom remains untouched. The city thrives again. And she still watches. Unchanging, eternal.
But think of the advances we could make, Father. With this new knowledge, we could
Order
truly
within
change the world.
disorder.
The question is, will we build it on a firm foundation?
Life repeats its rhythm. But nothing is ever the same. Each day rewrites the last. Ritual continues. Power resets. And war moves forward. The cycle is complete. A single day. In the greatest city of the ancient world.